So first, what inspired you to take up commerce, and two, why did you choose legal subject as part of your higher secondary?
So the idea behind choosing CA was that I wanted to take up something that was difficult and perceived to be difficult and strive hard and complete that.
Because ultimately when somebody qualifies chartered accountancy intern, it's definitely a joyous moment. So again, you're going to enter into the workforce.
Like law is the greatest invention of humankind. Like ultimately how we govern ourselves is what it deals with.
Purpose in which you are going to travel in your career. You definitely would have contemplated some purpose in your life, right?
And my main goal was to get a well-rounded experience.
Right.
And I was also, pursuing company secretary, and that decision was also driven by, the Tycoon Academy. But the ultimate, I think, value addition to society and the country will be to make India a trade surplus. Consulting can have an approach, but also to move and create our own products,
Right.
to compete with global brands,
Right.
and create, that soft power.
Definitely the next generation is going to have a tech-oriented, AI-oriented, right? Because there should be a human element within you that has to be exhibited every time, because AI will replace everything which is artificial. But
Correct.
what will stay only is human.
And thinking of yourself as a great, a potential contributor to society
Exactly.
as a whole. So I've got love.
Right.
So love is a very important factor, and I feel that happiness is the joy and the abundance that brings.
Today we have with us Trivikram, who is a qualified chartered accountant working with KPMG in valuations department. He is now working as an associate. Let us understand his life and times and what inspired him to be a chartered accountant and working in a Big Four today. So welcome to Tycoon Law Academy podcast, Trivikram. And it's been a pleasure catching up with you. And first of all, hearty congratulations for qualifying as a chartered accountant. You are one of those brilliant students whom I had in the classes. And I would like to know, first of all, what inspired you since the school times to pursue commerce in the first place. I also know that in your higher secondary, you chose legal subject over math. So what was the reason? Because all through you have been in Shankara school, and when you chose 11th standard, you chose a different path altogether from your peers. So first, what inspired you to take up commerce, and two, why did you choose legal subject as part of your higher secondary?
Thank you, sir. It's great to be here. And regarding my choice of choosing the commerce career, so initially I had the choice of delving into either bio and like becoming a doctor, or choosing commerce to become a chartered accountant. The ultimate goal was to become a CA, and choosing commerce was just a path through which I can become a CA. So the idea behind choosing CA was that I wanted to take up something that was difficult and perceived to be difficult and strive hard and complete that and get the satisfaction out of that. And I was not ready to take up anything which is which required like lesser or minimal effort. And I wanted to take up something that will definitely put me in the zone and like make me like work hard. So the choice of choosing commerce was for the purpose of CA, and my dad also guided me regarding the same. In our school, we had an option of choosing an extra subject. So we had mathematics, but addition to that, it was just brought in as an additional subject, the legal studies.
It's not instead of maths, but you also studied maths.
Yes, so we had like 6 subjects
Okay.
in our 12th board exams. So in that year alone, we had an option of choosing legal studies because a lawyer was actually brought into our school to teach legal studies, and and that was also my introduction to law and like legal studies at that point. And at that point I was just like not very exposed to law, but very interested. My exposure to law was only watching like Suits or some TV series. So at that point, but that choosing legal studies in 12th made a big difference.
Okay. So but when you chose like when you completed 10th standard, definitely you would have had discussion with your parents. Because I always feel that your parents have been your guiding force, and always they have been pushing you to greater challenges in life to pursue higher courses and things like that. When you chose commerce, post your 10th standard, so you told that you wanted to take up legal subject, right? That's an extra effort compared to any other peer. So the why extra? Something should have pushed you to that interest, right? What interest pushed you to the legal subject? Because as part of your high school, you would have studied civics.
Correct.
You would have read through about Constitution of India, how sociology works, all those little bit. But when you chose it, what was your exact reason you chose that legal subject in your higher secondary?
Correct. So the idea behind choosing law is that first of all, as you said, like we were only exposed to civics until 10th. So in 11th and 12th, understanding the law of our nation.
Correct.
Like understanding, like law is the greatest invention of humankind. Like ultimately how we govern ourselves is what it deals with. And understanding how we have dealt with it, our constitution, the history of our constitution, where have we taken our constitution from, and like adopted principles from,
Correct,
who are the
correct.
founding fathers of our constitution, and those questions that I had, and also regarding how it affects our daily lives.
Absolutely.
In our commercial terms, in terms of what we buy, how much we pay for, it is all law. At the end of the day, it's all guarded by the parliament laws
Exactly.
that are ultimately governed by the constitution. So I wanted an understanding of that, an overall broad understanding of the legal framework that governs our everyday lives.
Absolutely. So, and when you completed 12th standard also, you were one of the top performers in your school. That's when I met you, and then I picked you into the classes of my academy. So, and you joined, right? At that point of time, you would have had a lot of cognitive dissonance because you are a top performer. You had multiple option. You already chose legal subject as an extra subject. So, you would have had multiple options like chartered accountancy, going for law. Even you are a good performer in economics, then you would have chosen economics as one of your career path, or you wouldn't chosen like that. That is when the liberal education was also becoming popular.
Correct.
Way back in 2020.
Liberal arts, a lot of our students, I think one of our students also joined liberal arts.
Yeah, at that point of time, 2019-20 is what it getting introduced.
Correct.
Like universities like Kriya, Ashoka, you would have definitely had multiple choices. But why did you square up chartered accountancy as a course? Because chartered accountancy, as such, we know, is a very difficult course. Pass percentages are very less. You have to work really hard. It's a very challenging course. Definitely, there should have been a career-driven approach which you would have chosen at that point of time. What made you to choose CA over other subjects, other courses?
So, regarding choosing CA as the main course over others, is that CA, yes, it is a very prestigious course and it requires a lot of effort. But what it gives you and what it puts you through is just not just an understanding of accounts or microeconomics and business, but it also has legal aspect attached to it. It also has finance attached to it.
Correct.
So it gives a very fundamental and round understanding of business.
Right.
And it gives you an opportunity to work in diverse fields.
Absolutely.
So the course that is available to chartered accountants today.
Exactly.
We see a lot of chartered accountants in various fields and dynamic fields.
Yeah.
And I was of the belief that it will be able to enable me to choose different career paths also. It'll open up to a lot more paths, not just audit. But apart from accounts, it gives a very round understanding of various subjects that are very important.
Essential.
Essential.
In fact, when you say what I can understand is what you conceptualize as a CA is not auditor, not just being counter, but a complete business provider.
Correct.
So you would have thought instead of doing BCom, let us choose CA over BCom. Of course, doing BCom as a complementary thing in correspondence, you would have done, you did it. But when you chose CA, you thought, okay, you will be a complete business provider where you will have a 360-degree approach.
Yes.
On finance, on accounts, on law. So that would have been your thought process.
Yes, it is a very dynamic profession in that,
Right.
that way.
Right. So when you chose CA, that time you had COVID coming in, advent of COVID happening after your plus 2. You would have had a lot of dreams of going and meeting new friends. And I'm sure that when we started classes in Tycoon Academy at that point of time, in April month, there was a complete lockdown. Now, there is a CA course which you have chosen, and also you started doing your BCom. And when you started it, there was an hiccups of COVID. How did you manage to manage your classes? We had all our virtual classes at that point of time. How did you manage to be self-driven, self-motivated during that time?
I think it is actually quite fortunate that we had that kind of very focus-driven kind of approach at Tycoon. So initially I had a plan of joining full-time college, but that obviously could not take place because of COVID. And anyways, looking back, even the people who joined college, they could not experience college life because 1.5 years is gone in COVID. But our system at Tycoon was such that we were very focused. Even if we had COVID, the approach was that it was kind of a blessing in disguise per se, because even if it was online, we had a very good team and we had a good crowd of people who were like-minded and who were very willing to put in a lot of effort, and distractions were actually lesser at that time is what exactly. I can feel. And we actually tried to move into a physical setting also, but we could not do it fully because of the COVID time. But we was fortunate to have a very good team to work with, and people who are willing to strive hard And that time that uncertainty brought in a lot more effort. I feel
exactly made you to focus.
Yeah, a lot more focus and determination, because there's a lot of uncertainty. Because there's no other way. I can't go to college. College is not going to help me. So this is the only thing that I have. I'll do it perfectly. Is what
exactly. And when you completed your foundation, CA foundation, and then you completed CA Inter subsequently in the next year itself, second year itself, at that time you completed your Chartered Accountancy Inter course. Definitely you had multiple options to choose, like small firm, medium firm, and bigger firms. So what was driving you behind that choice? Because ultimately when somebody qualifies Chartered Accountancy Inter, it's definitely a joyous moment. So again, you're going to enter into the workforce. When you are meritorious, definitely you would have had a choice to enter into a big four. Then medium firms, lot of medium firms are there. They are also looking at a very skillful workforce. So what was the driving factor behind that choice as well? Where did you do your articleship? How did you choose the articleship?
As you said, the opportunity was plenty. Like for a first time chartered accountant, clearing first time CA Inter in the first attempt, you have an opportunity to work in big fours, you have an opportunity to work in small medium firms. And my main goal was to get a well-rounded experience.
Right.
And I was also pursuing company secretary, and that decision was also driven by the Tycoon Academy.
Right.
So we had a culture of taking up an extra course and working on it, because it will keep us more busy with the work.
Correct.
And it was a very complimentary course as well.
Because what you study in CA, you are eventually going to.
And interest in law also drove me to that.
Right.
So I wanted to pursue that also. Complete my company secretary exams. Also get a well-rounded experience. So if you go to a big four, typically your experience will be limited to a particular sphere.
Absolutely.
So that will be only like an audit or an indirect taxation or direct taxation, or there are certain upcoming factors like M&A and like valuations which are very minimal. But I wanted to get a well-rounded experience, so I decided to join a mid-sized firm with 3 partners. My principal was Mr. Lakshmi Narasimhan, and fortunate to him, he gave me a lot of support from his side, and he allowed me to write the company secretary exams.
Wonderful.
And because of that, I was able to clear the company secretary exams even before taking up the CA final exam.
Accountancy.
But the seat for that CS was sown by Tycoon Academy.
Okay, definitely. And now you are a qualified CS, qualified CA, and you have completed your BCom. And you wrote your CA final. Along with your articleship pressure, you prepared for the CA. You wrote the CA and cleared the CA. Now, moment you cleared, again you had another choices to make. Many of them enter the industry because industry pays more. 2, you can enter the practice. You would have joined the same firm where you are working. 3 is to get into a large firms and experience a big four culture. And out of these 3 choices, what was again driving your decision? Because it is always a cognitive dissonance. The biggest challenge is choosing between the best.
That's correct.
So how did you choose your present career? You are working in KPMG and you're an associate in valuation department,
correct,
right? So how did you choose? How did you square out again? How did you make this decision?
By the time I was completing my CA final exams, I had an understanding that I would like to get some experience in finance.
Right.
So when it comes to finance, there are plenty of opportunities, say investment banking or sort of private equity or venture capital kind of experiences, which are not directly open for CA freshers as such.
Right.
So, and coming from a background of like non-Big Four background, non-Big Four articleship background, I felt that it is important to get some kind of corporate experience, not just for learning that the subject as such, but also to understand how corporate culture works and how the organization as a whole is driven and how the organization is running in various terms. I felt it was very important, a corporate experience, and I decided to join KPMG because I was fortunate to get an opportunity to work in the a vibrant team of in the valuations department KPMG, and through that I'm now able to get an understanding of finance.
Absolutely.
And along with the prior experience that I had in various aspects like direct tax and audit.
Basically your valuation department integrates all your experience because valuation requires...
It has complements all of the things that I've learned. Like it has audit features, it has finance, it has some legal aspects to it.
Exactly.
Like the Income Tax Act, you will have the 11UA, Rule 11UA, 11UB and all of that combined, and integrates that, and And it gives a very strong foundation to work in finance in the future as well.
Exactly. And what you said is, I can reflect back. There should be a legal backing behind every valuation, and there is a necessity of valuation.
Correct.
And there is a method of doing valuation, and there is a methods prescribed under the law at certain times. So I think you have chosen a field where everything is integrated, and it is needed also.
Definitely.
Today, many startups don't even know what valuation value is. Every day they contribute to the factor of valuation, but they don't know how to value their firms. So I think that's a new area coming up, and you chose it, right? You have 4 big fours essentially, right? Now you are in KPMG, Ernst & Young, Pricewaterhouse, and Deloitte. How did you choose the big 4? Among the big 4, again, KPMG. What was the factor that was driving you choosing? Because you would have got everywhere, but I also know that you got everywhere. So now, why did you choose KPMG over other big 4s?
So KPMG as a organization is a very vibrant and a young organization, and it has a team. The valuation team is very, very driven, and it's a great environment to work in. And the opportunity of like working in valuations, the valuations vacancy was also available only in KPMG, because the situation came up in such a way that one of my school senior was able to refer me to the same.
Absolutely.
So that really helped me. So it is a very great team to work in, and the exposure and the exposure that you get at KPMG is great.
So now you're here started your career with the big 4, and I'm sure that you have in the years to come you're going to have a multiple career options. But generally I ask, being my student and one of the brightest students in the classes, what is that purpose in which you are going to travel in your career? You would have had you definitely would have contemplated some purpose in your life, right? So, and it need not be fixed also. For example, when I was at your age, I would have had some purpose, but I have fine-tuned and evolved over a period of time based on experiences that we gather. As of now, how do you see yourself in another 30 years or 20 years down the line? Where do you see yourself? How you wanted to progress to that space?
Definitely. So I have a very strong entrepreneurial goal,
right,
of running an enterprise, running a business. That's the ultimate future, and adding that value to society through creating a product or a service that is going to serve the consumers, the nation, and improve the quality of services and products.
Right.
And the ultimate goal, or is ultimate position that I want to be in, is to be a dynamic entrepreneur.
Right.
So that's the ultimate goal. But the means to achieve it are obviously, it's not as easy as it sounds. And I would like to gather as much experience as I can through this path.
Absolutely.
And I remember right from our Tycoon sessions, right from the very start, we had this practice of discussing what our future ambitions are. What is the ultimate goal is.
We had the Time magazine.
We had this Time magazine we had to create our own Time magazine basically to show what we want ourselves to be, our future selves to be. And that was a very important feature when it comes to preparation. That manifestation and having that visualization aspect is very important with respect to being consistent in exams.
Right.
Because preparation is one side, understanding the concepts are other side, but having that drive, you need to have that kind of a big ambition.
Right.
Being ambitious, and that helped a lot.
What I can decode from you is that you wanted to move into the path of entrepreneurship, and definitely chartered accountancy, that a 360-degree approach that you have, and with your experience in Big Fours which you are going to gather, is going to help you. Now, as you see, in India, the startup culture is really, really coming up well. You are a vivid reader of many current affairs. Even in the classes, I would have seen contributing you into the various aspects of discussion very boldly. In fact, you generally used to have dissenting opinion also when I present in the classes, which I used to appreciate, because I always wanted my students to have a dissenting opinion. That's how you learn and evolve.
It is a very open and transparent organization.
Yeah.
Right?
So considering it, how do you see startup evolving in our country? Now AI coming in, and you are in a Big Four. You would definitely read a lot of thought leadership, which is getting released in a Big Four's thought leadership, white papers on startup. So where do you see startups, how they are going to be mushroomed over a period of time, and what kind of startups are making a mark in the country as of now?
There's a lot of opportunity with respect to startups, and there's a lot of money also and encouragement that's coming in from a lot of venture capital. So we see a lot of startups that are changing our lives day to day. We have a lot of direct consumer startups. We have a lot of internet startups.
Right.
It's just changing completely. Like quick commerce recently has just changed the way that we shop.
Right.
But the ultimate, I think, value addition to society and the country will be to make India a trade surplus.
Absolutely.
So it needs to be, export more than imports kind of a situation. We need to drive towards that.
That
And for
ambition
we
should
need
be there.
Yes, that ambition should be there. And I think that's a very long game to play.
Right.
And we need to focus on R&D. We need to focus on building that, technology and product first, approach.
Oh, nice. So technology and product first. So we have technology and we also have a product. So it has to be integrated.
Correct. So not just selling man-hours or simply consulting kind of an approach, but also to move and create our own products.
Right.
And to compete with global brands.
Right.
And create that soft power, create the technology approach to make a trade surplus nation.
Absolutely. So it's wonderful to know about this startup perspective that you're driving. Globally, if you see, India has been evolving and India has been moving forward in a dynamic environment, right? And here, youngsters are getting entrepreneurial mindset. Gen Zs are now in one space of creation. Definitely, the next generation is going to have tech-oriented, AI-oriented, right? What are those human intelligence that is required as far as your experience is concerned? Because now, after you completed a chartered accountancy, I've seen you joining the academy in 12th standard. I've seen you evolving within a year and seen you growing over a period of time. Now that you are in a work environment, what are those very important interpersonal skills which people, definitely a lot of people, viewers are going to take you as a role model, right? Because you are a successful chartered accountant working in a big four, they're going to take you as a role model. What is that one interpersonal skill or interpersonal skills which has to be mastered by those people who are entering the workforce or even people who are studying now? What are those interpersonal skills?
When it comes to interpersonal skills, I think one is obviously the ability to communicate effectively.
Exactly.
And network as much as possible. But apart from that, when you look at the current situation, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of changes and developments that keep happening on a day-to-day basis. The ability to learning to learn anything.
Absolutely.
And to keep yourself updated. I think that approach is what I feel. Be as curious as possible to learn continuously and have the dynamic approach. So it can be any path, wherever you come from. Be curious and keep learning is what I definitely feel. Because there is a lot of things to learn and you have to keep yourself updated. When it comes to AI, I think we all have to put ourselves into some sort of learning mode.
Absolutely.
And keep running.
Because there should be a human element within you that has to be exhibited every time, because AI will replace everything which is artificial. But
Correct.
What will stay only is human.
Correct.
So that has to be enhanced everyday basis.
Ultimate human judgment and
Exactly.
that decision will be human.
Exactly.
So AI is just a tool through which we can make those decisions.
Right.
So we need to be very curious and learn as much as possible. The possibilities are endless now.
Absolutely. This is a great perspective, because AI is a tool and human has to take a decision. For decision making only, all these tools are important every day, because we have to take a decision. That's a nice perspective. Right. Now, there are a lot of chartered accountancy students who are watching this podcast. They will be definitely looking forward for some guidance from you, right? You went through a CA Foundation, Inter, CA Final, Company Secretary course, rigorous courses, right? So what is the study methodology you recommend? I felt that you used to study in the morning, if I'm not wrong. So wake up early and study. So what is your study methodology from setting your biological clock, then preparation method, note-taking systems? Can you just throw some light?
Sure.
So that students who are watching you as a role model can pick up some ideas which they can use it for preparation of the exam.
Definitely, sir. So when it comes to preparation for CA exams, you obviously have the voluminous CA course and a lot of subjects to study, all through both the foundation, inter as well as the final. So when it comes to study methodologies, as you said, you can be a morning person. There are also people who have been very successful when they study at night. But we stick to it consistently.
Right.
And when it comes to preparation, what I feel is very important is to simplify what you're going to study. So it was very, very clear to us that in Foundation Inter, we'll focus on the ICA study material as such.
Right.
And focus and minimize and simplify as much as you can.
Right.
And the first time you're going to study, you're not going to really understand it immediately. Understanding the concept is very important. Memory is equally important. But to be consistent and read the same thing again.
Right.
So you will definitely not be able to recollect everything that you've learned.
So multiple
times reading of the same thing is very important, and simplification is very important, is what I feel. So when it came to like foundation inter, I used only the study material of ICA. When it came to final, I had like individual subjects, but again at that point of time also I was referring to the study material, and I was focusing purely on simplification and like doing the same thing multiple times. So multiple readings and collaborative readings along with my team members, along with my fellow students, group study, as well as having mock tests. So, and like the approach is that everyone is facing the same kind of same kind of situation, same
Correct.
challenge. So it's not that you're the only one who's going to be who's facing this. So be very confident when you're going to write the exam, and that was the approach that we also had, right? So no matter how how we felt, we were very confident about going to write the exam and like having that strong mindset and approach.
Right.
So that was the main simplification, and like multiple times reading is what I'll emphasize a lot.
Totally, you have 8 exams, and one is an open book exam, and one is SPOM. But rest of it are all written exams, right? It's very taxing because you have one day holiday, on first day exam starts, you have a financial reporting paper, some students complete the paper, some students may not complete the paper, and some students may get the right answer, but they don't have crushed all the steps. So a lot of challenges in writing examination. I know very well people who start with the consolidation question may not complete the paper, or complete all the questions but never touch a consolidation. All these things happen in a financial reporting paper, and subsequently people write all the other papers. Now, what's the kind of a mindset that has to be evolved by a student? Ultimately, CA exam is a mind game. It's a courage game. It's not about whether you studied or not, because everybody studies. Somebody who has come to CA final definitely would have qualified CA inter, and he has a knowledge to, he definitely would have put his hard work in CA final, and he's not going to give a casual approach. Everybody studies, but while writing examination, what is a kind of a courage we should have? For example, you perform well in the first exam, not perform well in the first exam. How do you progress to the next exams? That's very important. What is the mindset in which we should travel?
Yes, sir. So mindset is that it's very difficult to actually judge. Some of my papers that I wrote, I felt I did really well, but that was the lowest. And papers that I felt I did really bad, I got the best marks out of it.
Right.
So to be consistent and not think about the previous exam is very important.
Yeah.
Once you come out of that first exam or the second exam, you throw away that paper, throw away those books for now, and like focus purely on the current exam.
Right.
And over the period, like during the articleship period especially, having writing practice is very, very important. Apart from study methodology, you have this gap. During this articleship, you don't have the practice of writing, and you don't have the practice of studying properly. And in that way, I think taking up another course like company secretary helped me.
Correct.
Because I was consistently writing something, attending those exams, having that exam mode going on throughout those 3 years. That helped. So when it comes to your judgment, leave alone the previous exam, focus on the current exam, and also like completing the paper, like attending for 100 marks is very, very important. So even if you're not feeling that confident about certain questions, go on, complete the exam, because writing for 100 marks is the best
first success
formula that I have used, because I think I wrote all my groups together, both the groups together, and I also wrote all the papers for 100 marks.
Right.
So there were certain papers in certain groups, like the first group in inter and the first group in final did not really go well, but in the second group I had like more marks to consolidate and like have a pass mark. But writing for 100 marks very important.
Right.
And not like brooding over your previous paper, and like focusing and moving on to the next paper is very important.
Absolutely. So what essentially you mean is to don't think about the marks, just go through the process. Even if you don't know the answer, still you would have put some hours in the preparation. Use that knowledge and apply, and then try to solve the problems.
Yes.
Ideally, you should be able to qualify.
Correct.
Because the game is to qualify and not to perform.
Because even if you study fully, there's no guarantee that you will be able to recollect everything.
Exactly.
And like completing entire syllabus also is very difficult.
That's a practical solution.
There is a limitation to that. There's a limitation to the human mind also.
And nobody is aiming to score centum.
Correct.
Like 12th standard or 90.
Correct.
Here the game is to get 40, 50 overall aggregate.
And for that you need to complete as much as possible. Read the entire syllabus and go confidently write the exam, and focus on completing the paper, and making sure that you don't leave anything.
Absolutely.
You may be like just summarizing, going through, but never leave out anything from the CA syllabus when reading.
Absolutely.
And like reading the question twice is very important. when it comes to in the papers, reading the question twice, because they know that our mind can be easily changed.
Right.
So they might be asking certain things, but we might be thinking that they're asking this.
Yes.
And reassure what they're asking, understanding the question first, framing the answer.
Strategically, basically,
very important to-
strategically plan. Because when I used to write my chartered accountancy exam and I cleared my exams, as you said, we have a system in CA where we receive the paper first. That is question paper, and then I used to have a pencil, mark it, and then strategically approach each question. I visualize the answer, then start the answer. So that 15 minutes time, I think ideally can be used for strategizing. Which question
Very
to choose
important.
first, which question to choose next, and then how much time it requires. All those things matter, because ultimately 3 hours is a powered session. Powered examination session. Everything matters. Time management matters, recollecting matters, your energy level matters, your biological output matters, your climatic situation may not be favorable. So everything you have to map, and then the student becomes successful, right? So I think your guidance definitely will help, because without counting on marks, without looking at what has happened in the exam, giving your 100% for 100% of the question is the right
Yes.
approach.
So I have felt that way. I have felt some papers didn't go really well at all.
Right.
And I've been very underconfident about it. I was, in fact, sure that I was going to fail in that paper. But I still went ahead with the next exam confidently, because there is always a chance
Right.
that you might be wrong, right? Because the
That-
judgment is not that great.
Exactly.
Uh,
The winning strategy is to approach the examination with a
yes.
positive mindset.
It's very difficult to judge when it comes to writing the
examination.
examination. But you can use those 15 minutes to definitely, identify the confident, question that you want to go ahead and answer.
Exactly.
So you can start away with answering the first question that you definitely are very confident about, that you have practiced a lot about, and complete that, and then move on to the tougher ones.
Exactly. And coming back to the next important thing of the result today. So result day is a very important thing for a chartered accountant student. The purple color screen where you are declared as successful. I'm sure that the day has come where when you got your CA results, what was your experience on that day? What was your moment at your home? Definitely the previous day,
Yeah.
and the next day on that moment.
Correct. So until then, it is a very, very difficult kind of situation, right? When it's, results are going to be announced soon, you get very nervous and all of that. But I tried to be, I went into kind of a, Zen mode. I don't know if I can say that, but I was not very, expecting anything in per se.
Okay.
I was kind of like fixed. My mindset was that I've completed my exam. No, I can't really do anything about it.
Correct.
Let's just face it when we can face it. And we thought we'll record, like me and my sister will record the results, but I was not very confident about recording. Also, we will not record that results. Seeing the results and like loading the page, because that's a very trending thing that happens in social media right now. I was not confident about that. But successful, yeah. I think they've changed the results from past to successful.
Correct.
And that brings a lot more emotion now.
Yeah. Successful is something.
Sounds more.
Pass is like you just pass. But that's the case.
You
of the
people
CA.
would have got like very high marks, will like just pass. Everyone gets pass. Now it's like successful, but it sounds great now.
Definitely, Chartered Accountancy Institute has been evolving over a period of time, and late Sri T.N. Manogaran, who was my guru, tax guru, he used to be a very strategic man for the institute. Definitely, I have to recollect that memory and pass it on to you. So, he used to always say, Chartered Accountancy course as such is a partner in nation building. He coined that word. He also used to say the exact words what you said, a business partner. CA is a business partner, not just a bean counter, and he proved it in his lifetime. Late Sri T.N. Manogaran, when he was a practicing chartered accountant, then later became the president of the institute, and later he became the board member of the Mahindra. And I think his life is what should be reflected by many of the students, being my guru and who has been very successful in his career. Just wanted to reflect that thought before you, because you are also reflecting the same thing.
Definitely, it's great to bring that memory from him. I think he passed away.
Passed away recently, and it's
he's a great contributor to
the profession.
The profession.
Because today, most of the students who are, for example, I practice on tax side, I practice on commercial law side. From CA to, I am a CA turned lawyer. When I look back and see who was my inspiration, and I look back the gurus who guided, of course family was supporting me, but the gurus are also very important. So that made us what we are today. And tax as such, he was He was a guru to inspire the tax.
Definitely.
He didn't teach the tax, right? So I'm sure that you're going to have a great career ahead. You are very young. You're going to have a great career ahead. And this podcast was to show the world that even though I am your guru, I can learn a lot of things from my students also. Because the perspectives you threw on startup, the valuation department, your perspectives are changing. Finally, last question before we end this podcast. What do you think one important virtue that every professional, irrespective of whether he's a CA, lawyer, doctor, one virtue that should be a driving factor every day morning when we get up? Driving factor, one virtue. There's one virtue which is driving me. There should be some virtue that should be driving, which you should declare to the world. What is that one virtue that is going to drive you, which is driving you, which will drive you forever? One virtue.
That's a great question, sir. So one virtue, as you said, is we are here for a reason. And what is the innate factor? Self-preservation, yes, taking care of ourselves, earning money is one aspect. So what are you going to do to yourself, to your family, and to this nation as a whole for the country's development? Thinking about that and thinking of yourself as a great, a potential contributor to society as a whole, and having that mindset and having that discipline is very important.
Right. So we have in our podcast a new thing introduced. There's a box of virtues.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you a box of virtue. You're going to close and take one virtue and then reflect it back to me as how that virtue has helped you in your lifetime. Okay. So this is a box of virtue. So I'm going to show you that virtue. You're going to close your eyes and pick up one stone. There are 7 box virtues. Okay. And whatever virtue that comes, you're going to choose and say how that virtue helped in your life. Right?
Sure. So I've got love.
Right.
So love is a very important factor. And I feel, that happiness, that joy and that abundance that brings when you show that affection towards the people you work with, towards your, family members, and towards the love that you have towards the nation as a whole, is something that's going to really improve you and the people around you.
Thank you, Trivikram. It's a pleasure catching up with you. And what is more joyful for a teacher than seeing the student grow before his own eyes? And it's been a great journey with you in the last 4-5 years, wherein you joined the CA Foundation, you cleared your chartered accountancy, you're now working with the Big Four, and I see a really great potential in your talents. This is historical. This podcast is historical because you came here and you expressed yourself. And I'm sure that in your life you will do multiple podcasts as a CEO, in your entrepreneurial journey, and many top people will interview. But this podcast will definitely be an historical thing because it has given you a purpose and you are able to express yourself. And let this be a first platform for you to cherish every moment.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm sure that with your virtues, with your quality, with your parents' blessings, with the abundant support of your colleagues wherever you're working in, with your interpersonal skill, which I always admire in you, which as a teacher I used to admire the interpersonal skill, the way you used to carry, the way you used to present things. And I'm sure that life is going to offer you a multiple opportunity, loads of abundance.
Thank you, sir.
And you'll be blessed with most and more opportunities in the days to come. And I'm sure that God will bless you. Thank you, Trivikram, for joining.
It was great reconnecting with my guru. And the session is very, brings a lot of positivity, brings a lot of optimism. And we can share the same to our, students too.
Definitely. Thank you, Trivikram, and pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.